right. Well, thank you guys for coming to this. This is I'm with Sports Psychology Institute Northwest. We're talking a little bit about the mental game. All right. So everyone here's been playing since you're 6, and you're anywhere from 10 to 16, 15. All right. So what we're going to talk about today is the mental game, and as you probably know, you might have heard this before. In soccer, there's 4 kind of pillars of the game. Do you know what those are? What are the 4 pillars of the sport? No. All right, I'll tell you, then you tell me what each one of those are. All right, so the first one is technical. Then the second one is tactical. So what's the tactical side of the game? Third pillar of the game is physical. The fourth one is mental. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is the mental side of the game. All right. There's a little bit about me. So I grew up like you guys. I played since I was in U6. I played since about age 5 in Florida, where I grew up. And I played all the way through college, and I still play just on men's leagues for fun. It's one great thing about soccer. You can play it for your whole entire life. I played at a small school in South Carolina, and then went into coaching. I wanted to be a coach. I didn't even know anything about sports psychology or the mental game. No one ever talked about that back then. But when I heard about it and learned about it, then I started getting interested, and I went to graduate school, got a master's degree in sports psychology. So out of the 4, tactical, physical, technical, and mental, which one do you think is the most important thing?
Mental.
You guys all think the mental is the most important? Okay. I think that's true. The older you get, so you older guys, the mental piece is probably the most important. Because everyone is pretty similar technically, right? Physically, there's not a whole lot of difference. Maybe as a younger player, technical is probably most important. The player that can control the ball the best is usually going to have the most success. So build that technique. They're all important. It's kind of a trick question, but it depends on the person. The older you get, the more mental it becomes, right? So one thing that when I work with teams for over a whole season, we work on mental conditioning. We work on ways to keep your mind sharp through the whole entire game, just like physical. Anyone like physical conditioning? You like training, like the running part of the game? You like it? There's always one person out of every group that really likes it, and everyone else is like, just give me the ball, I want to play. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And mental conditioning is kind of like, I like to look at it like this. Are you exercising your mind? Are you exercising your brain? You, on the very first line on your paper, says confidence. You tell me, we're going to define it. We're just going to put a definition out there so we can start there. Tell me what confidence is. Who can define it for me? Just give it a shot. It doesn't have to be just specifically out of the dictionary. Just tell me what you
Confidence
think.
is like where you feel good about yourself and you feel like you're one of the best, and like you kind of encourage your brain.
Okay, perfect. When you feel good about yourself, when you believe in yourself, you believe in your abilities. You don't have to write all this down, but this is just something that I just cut and pasted it out of the dictionary. Number 1 is you can have confidence in things around you. You can have confidence in your coach. You can have confidence because we're playing a home game. You can have confidence in your shoes because you really like your shoes. But what we really are more interested in is the second one, is the belief in oneself and one's powers or abilities. So we want to make sure that you guys step onto the field during training believing that you can get better that day. We want you to step on the field believing you have a shot to, if not to win, but just to play up to the best of your ability. So that's confidence. Belief in yourself. And remember, we're talking about mental conditioning. We want to make sure that we're staying confident and keeping confident for longer and longer periods of time. So the next line says mental toughness. That's on the next slide. But take a minute and write down for me what builds confidence. What are the things that you can do or that happen that build your confidence? And then on the other column there, write what are things that could take your confidence away? What things hurt confidence? Take like 2 minutes to think of as many things as you can right there. All right, let's start with what builds confidence. Tell me, what are some things you wrote down that builds confidence?
I just wrote success.
Success, good. Anytime you have success, you feel better about yourself, and you believe, hey, I can do that again. All right?
Something happy.
Something happy? Okay. Usually, when people are out on the field and they're happy and they're enjoying themselves, they're usually pretty confident and play better. Good. What else? Yeah.
Thinking that you can do anything you want.
Thinking you can do anything you want. So kind of telling yourself good things, telling yourself you can do it. Good. Yeah. It helps to have a good team around you, doesn't it? Team building, very good. It helps build your confidence when players around you are good and when they believe in you, when your coach believes in you. All right, here's a couple more that I'll add on there. Number one is practice. Nothing builds confidence quite like practice. When you put in the work in training and you work really hard and you learn something new, then you go in the game confident. Kind of confident in the tactics of the team and what the team's trying to do. You're confident in your position because you've practiced. And then finally, success is on there, but I put failure with a question mark. Why do you think failure is on there as something that builds confidence?
I'm scared of failure. Like,
maybe you're scared of failure. That might be it. And what were you going to say?
Because you can learn from it.
Learn from it. We want athletes to learn from their mistakes. We don't want you to be, we want you maybe to be a little bit afraid of failure because in a game you don't want to mess up. But in practice, we don't want you to be afraid of failure. We want you to be like, okay, I might fail. There's a study that I read. It was about these people, they studied Olympic ice skaters, right? Who watched some skating in the Olympics, anyone? These guys can do really amazing things on the ice, right? Well, these people studied over a number of years, and they asked, well, what makes someone an Olympian versus someone who's didn't make the Olympic team? They trained just as much, they had the same coaches, but these guys made it and these guys didn't. And you know what the difference they said was? 20,000 falls on their butt. The Olympians fell on their butt on the ice 20,000 more times than the ones who didn't. That means they failed. That means they went out to practice, and if there's one person that didn't make it and one person that did, and the person that did, let's say they can do one full twist in the air. So the one person goes out and practices and does 100 twists and lands every single one of them, and they walk off practice going, I worked hard and I was successful 100% of the time. And then the other one says, I'm trying to get 2 spins in the air. And they can already do 1, but they go out and try to do 2 and they fall. And then they get up and they try it again. And then they get up and they try it again. And they never quite make it, but they can land 1.5 at the end of that practice. Who's had the better one? The one who failed 95 times or the one who succeeded 95 times? The fail. So really confident athletes need to go into practice going, I might fail at this today, but I'm gonna eventually learn it. And you can't go in, if you go in afraid of failing, you're gonna not work hard and you're not gonna do it. So confident athletes are confident in, they try and move and they trip over their own feet and everyone laughs at them and they're like, oh, but then they get back up and go, all right, that's just I'm just one step closer to getting it. Whereas people who aren't that confident, they trip and they get laughed at and they're like, I'm never trying that again. Forget that, it's not worth it. Who's gonna do better, right? Confident athlete has got to be able to accept failure.